Hey everyone! Welcome back to the English podcast. I'm really excited about today's episode because we're going to talk about something that's super important in all of our lives: habits. You know, those little things we do every day without even thinking about them. They might seem small, but they really shape who we are and what we achieve. So, grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into how habits work, why they're so powerful, and how you can make some changes to improve your life, one small step at a time. Alright, so let's start with the basics. What's a habit? Well, a habit is just something you do over and over again until it becomes automatic. Think about it like this: you wake up in the morning, maybe the first thing you do is check your phone, right? Or maybe you brush your teeth without even thinking about it. Those are habits. The funny thing is, we don't always realize how many habits we have. Some are good, like drinking water or exercising regularly. Others, not so much, like staying up too late or spending hours on social media. But here's the thing: all habits, good or bad, play a huge role in how we live our lives. Now, you might be wondering, how do these habits even form in the first place? Well, it all comes down to something called the habit loop. It's a pretty simple process, but it's super powerful. The habit loop has three parts: a cue, a routine, and a reward. Let me break it down for you. First, there's the cue, or the trigger. This is what tells your brain to start the habit. For example, let's say you feel stressed. That feeling of stress could be the cue. Next, we have the routine. This is the actual habit, the thing you do. So, if you feel stressed, maybe your routine is grabbing a snack or scrolling through your phone to distract yourself. And finally, there's the reward. This is the part that makes your brain say, "Hey, that was nice, let's do it again." It's the feeling of relief or pleasure you get after completing the routine. Your brain remembers that reward and encourages you to repeat the behavior next time the cue happens. Pretty simple, right? But over time, this loop gets stronger, and before you know it, you've got yourself a solid habit. Okay, so let's talk about bad habits for a minute. We all have them, whether it's biting your nails, eating too much junk food, or procrastinating. And if you've ever tried to break a bad habit, you know how tough it can be. But why is that? Well, it's because of that habit loop we just talked about. Your brain gets really comfortable with the routine and reward. It likes the reward and doesn't want to give it up, even if the habit isn't good for you. So, breaking a bad habit isn't just about stopping the behavior, you have to change the entire habit loop. One trick that works is called habit substitution. Instead of trying to quit cold turkey, you replace the bad habit with a new, healthier one. For example, if you usually snack on chips when you're bored, try replacing them with fruit or something healthy. The cue and reward stay the same, but the routine changes. It takes time and patience, but the good news is, it's totally possible. Now that we've talked about breaking bad habits, let's get into how you can build new, positive ones. The process is pretty similar, but it starts with deciding what habit you actually want to build. Maybe it's exercising regularly, reading more, or getting better sleep. Whatever it is, start small. A lot of people make the mistake of trying to do too much too fast. They say, "I'm going to start working out for an hour every day." But after a few days, they burn out and quit. The trick is to make it easy for yourself in the beginning. Let's say you want to start exercising. Instead of going for an hour, try doing just 10 minutes a day. It sounds small, but the goal is to make it a habit. Once you've gotten used to doing it every day, you can start increasing the time. The key is consistency. Here's another tip for building habits: use cues to remind yourself to do them. A cue could be anything: an alarm on your phone, a sticky note on your mirror, or even a visual reminder. If you're trying to drink more water, for example, keep a water bottle on your desk. Every time you see it, it'll remind you to take a sip. And don't forget the reward. The reward doesn't have to be anything big. It could be the feeling of accomplishment you get after finishing a workout or the relaxation you feel after reading a book. The important thing is that you recognize the reward and let your brain enjoy it. That way, you'll want to keep repeating the habit. So, why do habits even matter in the first place? Well, think about it like this. Our habits make up most of our daily lives. If you have good habits, you're more likely to reach your goals and live the life you want. But if your habits aren't great, they can hold you back without you even realizing it. For example, if you develop the habit of learning something new every day, over time, you're going to accumulate a ton of knowledge. But if you have the habit of procrastinating, it can prevent you from reaching your full potential. The good news is, habits are flexible. You can change them. It's not always easy, but with time and consistency, you can create the habits that'll help you live your best life. Let me tell you something really cool about habits. They have a compound effect. This means that small habits, done consistently, can add up to big results over time. It's kind of like saving money. If you save a little bit every day, it doesn't seem like much at first, but after a while, you'll have a lot saved up. The same goes for habits. If you read for just 15 minutes a day, by the end of the year, you could finish several books. Or if you exercise for 10 minutes a day, in a few months, you'll see noticeable improvements in your fitness. So, don't underestimate the power of small habits. They might not seem like much on their own, but when you stick with them, they can create real change in your life. Alright, so let's wrap this up. We've talked about how habits are formed, why they're so powerful, and how you can break bad habits while building good ones. The key takeaway here is that habits are what shape your life. If you can understand how they work and make some conscious changes, you'll be able to create the life you want, one small step at a time. Now, let's take a moment to explore some key vocabulary that will help deepen your understanding of today's topic. These words are not only relevant to our conversation, but will also enrich your English skills. So, let's dive into the new vocabulary. Habit. Habit. Meaning, a usual way of behaving, or something that you do regularly. Cue. Cue. Meaning, a signal or prompt that tells you to do something, often part of a routine. Substitution. Substitution. Meaning, the act of replacing one thing with another. Consistency. Consistency. Meaning, the quality of always behaving or performing in the same way, or of always having the same effect. Procrastinating. Procrastinating. Meaning, the action of delaying something that needs to be done. Accomplishment. Accomplishment. Meaning, something successful that is achieved after a lot of effort. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode of the English Podcast. I hope you found this helpful and maybe even a little inspiring. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who might benefit from it too. Keep practicing your English, keep building those good habits, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care.